Hey everyone, I am Kyle Green. I am the professor of your course. You can call me Kyle, you can call me Professor Green, you can call me Dr. Green, although I'm not a huge fan of that. Unfortunately, I cannot be there on the first day of class. I have a doctor's appointment that's been lined up for about a month and a half, and unfortunately, it falls on Friday, which is when we begin. In retrospect, it's probably the best day to have to cancel class because the goal is just to go over the syllabus, and I'm going to do that virtually. So that's what you're going to see in the rest of this video. If you have any questions before I see you on Monday, feel free to email. I'll try to get back to you on Sunday, but mostly just keep those questions, right? Read over the syllabus on your own. If you have any concerns, bring that to class and we'll get to talk that through. And then we'll get right into the material. So in this video, I'll go over the syllabus and then I'll talk about what I want you to do for Monday, what you have to do for reading, and then prepare you for the class. The other thing that I'll say is that I am going to enforce and be pretty strict about the mask policy in this class. Have a good mask and wear it. Now, it is true that for vaccinated people, this strain of COVID, the dominant strain currently Omicron, does have more mild symptoms. That's on average. That means some of us might have extreme reactions if we get sick. The other thing is we don't know the immune systems of the people around you, right? So don't just do it for you. You've heard this over and over. I'm sorry to repeat this message, but the thing is I'm excited about being in person. I like the format of us all getting to have this seminar style discussion. It doesn't work quite as well online, right? I want this to be the only time that you're processing me talking to you through this medium. So again, wear the mask. We'll try to keep each other safe, and I'm hoping for a great semester. I will see you on Monday. Final thing I'll say is for those of you taking more than one class with me, that's great. I love seeing faces across my 3 courses. You're going to see an overlap in the style of teaching. There won't be anything that overlaps in terms of actual readings. Some of the discussions might overlap as well, but you're going to see this part of the video 3 times, and then it'll be different when you get to the syllabus. So again, apologies for not being there on Friday, and I look forward to seeing you all on Monday. Email me if you have questions before then. Otherwise, just show up ready to talk, and we're going to get right into the material. Yes, Sociology 235. This is a new course. This is the first time this course is being offered at Brockport. Now, for some of you, I've noticed that I've already taken my Sport and Society class. That is an upper level course. You'll notice that I've taken a few portions of that course and taken that out of the upper level course, and I've built a whole new course around it, right? So for those of you taking Sports and Politics who have not taken my other course, what's exciting is if you're interested in this, you can go on to Sport and Society, where I talk more about issues related to our obsession and enjoyment of sport, the experience of being part of a team, the subcultures that build around sport, extreme sport, questions around gender and sexuality. All those things are still in Sport and Society. And then I took the part that was specifically about sports and politics, and that's what this course is. This is more of an introduction to sociology and these ideas. You don't have to have had intro to sociology before you take this course, right? So I'm thinking this will be more accessible and hopefully deals with contemporary issues and exciting. I'm excited about teaching this course, so I hope that you are excited about taking it. Read through the syllabus on your own. I'm not going to read this to you in the video. That's kind of a waste of your time. But read through this on your own. This gives you a sense of what I want this course to do. It introduces some of the key topics, some of the key questions that we're going to be asking. It also has my goals down here, right? This is what I hope if you are active and engaged as a student and I succeed in my role as a professor, these are the 9 things that I hope happen. What I want you to do before Monday. There's not any reading that you have to do, so there's 2 tasks I'm giving you. No reading. First task is look at these pictures. With each syllabus that I put together, I choose a series of pictures that I think introduce the key themes and questions or problems we're going to be working through in the class. Here's 6 photos. Think about what that shows about sports and politics, right? So that's the first thing. Brainstorm about each of those photos. Take a few little notes and be ready that we're going to talk about it on Monday. Second thing is come up with your own little explanation. Try to define what we mean by sport or sports, right? Come up with just a basic definition of what is a sport, right? And then second, what do we mean by politics? And then the third part of that writing, and I'll include this in the email, is what does it mean to study the relationship between sports and politics? How are those 2 things related? So first, tell me what a sport is or what sports are. Second, tell me what we mean by politics. And third, what does it mean to study in sports and politics and protest together? What do you think that's about? All right, other key things, contact information. Email me, kgreen@brockport.edu. I always try to respond in 24 hours unless I'm traveling, which I'll let you know about in advance, or if it's on a Saturday. Every other day within 24 hours. Office hours are on Tuesday, Thursday. They're from noon to 1. They're held via Zoom. I'm doing this intentionally so we can actually see each other's faces, which I think is really useful for a one-on-one meeting. However, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll be on campus, and you can always stop by and we can talk, right? So I'm happy to meet in person as well. But on Tuesday, Thursday, I want to have flexible hours, and I want it to be on Zoom so we can actually see each other. You have 2 books that you need to buy. Both of them should be really cheap. You could also get the audiobook if you want to listen to them. So you've got 2 books. You're only actually going to, depending on which student you are, some of you are going to focus more on book 1. Some of you are going to focus on book 2, but it is useful to have both books. We won't get to those books until pretty much the end of the course. So it's closer to the last section. So it's after spring break. So it's not actually rushed to get those books. Everything else up to that point is going to be on Blackboard. Bring the readings to class. That could be on a laptop, could be on an iPad or some sort of other tablet. I prefer not the phone because it's just not a good way to engage with the reading. Print it off, that's useful. Make sure you have a way to access it. All right, other things that I want to point out. In terms of the assignments, this is a course, which I hope you noticed, which counts for your oral skills requirement, your ability to speak, right? To make an argument, and essentially a type of public speaking with a focus on communication, right? So this course meets that requirement. As a result, what you'll notice is I have a variety of assignments, but a lot of them involve you actually speaking, you building an argument. So that is a key part of the course. But for those of you who are nervous, you can always write down what you're going to say, right? It's not about, improvising. It's not about coming up with answers on the spot. It's about being able to communicate ideas. So that's going to be part of the course. And when we get into the assignments, you'll see how that works out. All right, so let's get into that. Quizzes. There will be quizzes and there will be in-class activities. Both of these should be relatively easy. If you're keeping up with the reading, if you're keeping up with the lectures, every once in a while we're going to have a quiz that just checks in to make sure that you're understanding the material. Same with in-class activities. Maybe we'll watch a documentary and you have to answer a series of questions. Maybe after a conversation, you get a chance to reflect and write down your own ideas on it. Maybe I give you an additional case study and you have to apply the ideas from class to that case study, right? The in-class activities, if you're in class, if you do the reading, if you put effort into it, you'll get a really good grade. The other thing that you'll notice, no tests. I think a test is an awful way to assess your understanding in sociology. I would say probably in most fields, but especially in sociology. The only class that I have a test in is social theory. So if you take Intro to Sociology with me, if you take Sport and Society, the upper level course, if you take Sociology of the Body, Questioning Masculinity, never any tests. All right, during the semester, I will assign you to groups. In this group, you will take part in a debate. It's somewhere between a debate and a proposal, really, right? So there's 3 different topics, which you'll see on the syllabus, and your group will have a day to come up with the argument based on the readings that I provide and the conversations you already had in class. And then another group will also be selected at random, and you get to present your ideas to the class, you get to ask questions to the other group, and then we get to have a conversation as a whole. This counts for a significant portion of your grade, right? In a sense, these are 3 papers that you're writing, but it saves you a lot of time. You don't have to write out the paper. You just have to write out an argument and present it to us. So I do this in Sport and Society, and I generally get good feedback on it, so I'm hoping you enjoy this activity. The other thing that you have to do is over the course of the semester, each of you are required to give 2 what I call 1-minute recaps. What that means is if we have class on Wednesday and we cover a certain topic or a certain theory or a certain idea, on Friday, if you're the 1-minute recap, you get to choose one key theory, one thing you disagreed with, maybe the takeaway, and in only a minute, right? So you're not supposed to go over. Make sure you time it. Just 1 minute, 60 seconds. You're just going to explain what you thought was key and articulate why you found that idea so compelling or important. Only 1 minute. I think this should be pretty fun, and it's a really good way to remind us what we talked about last time, and it's a really good way for me to see what you're finding interesting and what you took away from it. When you're presenting your 1-minute recap, one time during the semester, you are going to provide feedback for one of the other presenters. Now, they're not going to actually see the feedback that you provide, so you can be completely honest. I'll process it when I give my own feedback, but I want you to engage with what they did and write 3 paragraphs thinking about what they did well, what you liked about their ideas, and what they could potentially improve upon. Right. So it's a way to give feedback to your peers. So be friendly, but our goal is all to get better at this. We could all be public speakers. I try to improve every semester. This is a skill that's really useful no matter what field you go into. Being able to build and present an argument is key really in life, right? Even if you're thinking outside of the business world, it's useful in friendships, it's useful in relationships of any type. It's useful when you're trying to return an item at a grocery store, right? This is a useful skill. The other thing that you have to do, and there's a little writing that goes along with this, is you have to come up with a show and tell. What that means is we're talking about all these things, we're reading about all these things. Come up with a contemporary example of your own. It could be a recent news story. It could be a highlight of a sporting event. It could be a music video. It could be a comedian talking about it. But you're going to come up with some specific example which relates to what we're talking about in class. And then you're going to do a write-up about that example, which you're going to submit to me. And then in class, you're going to tell people why you chose that particular example. Sometimes if we're a little short on time, the discussion with the class will be really, really minimal. But the key part is you're doing this write-up that explains why you chose the example, how it connects to class, and doing some analysis of what we learn about it. Whether it's what we learn about the example you have, or what the example, how it can help us improve what we talked about in class. Okay, other things that are key. Rules, resources in the classroom. Read through this on your own. The one thing I'll say is we're going to be talking about things related to difficult issues. We're talking about politically sensitive issues. We live in a society that's very divided, and one of the unfortunate things is we're not having conversations about these topics. We're going to be talking about power. We're going to talk about class. We're going to talk about race. We're going to talk about athletes protesting. We're going to be talking about the good and bad of the Olympics. People are going to have different views on these things. Our goal is always to return to the sociological ideas and be able to have a discussion around it, right? Ask questions. Don't be offended by other people asking questions, but also don't be offensive when you're asking your question, right? So let's all have a chance to learn together and come together around these topics and improve our way of thinking and understanding as a result. I don't think I need to point out too much else. Don't be late. It's disruptive to other students. It happens sometimes. It's the winter. Car doesn't start, etc. Let me know in advance. Let me know when it's happening. Don't be disruptive when you come in. Better to come in late than to skip class, though. So try not to be late, but also don't skip class. Speaking of skipping class, I do take attendance. I'm required to by Brockport. I take it in part just to make sure none of you just stop coming to class altogether. It affects financial aid, things like that. I don't mark you off simply for missing class. If you miss class, it's going to hurt your grade because you're not going to understand the material as well. I also don't let you make up assignments if you miss class. So if you miss a quiz, if you miss an in-class writing, that's on you. You missed class. If you tell me in advance, that counts as an excused absence. Maybe you have an issue with work. Maybe you have, that you're going to be going to court that day. Maybe you know there's something important happening with your family. Tell me in advance, and then you can miss. If you feel sick, don't come to class. Just email me, right? I accept those things, but you have to tell me in advance. I think that's all. So again, read through the syllabus on your own. Make notes if there's questions. You have 2 things to do for Monday. There's no reading, but on Monday, I expect you to have looked at the photos or the pictures that I include on the syllabus and think about what topics, questions, or ideas that invokes, and then also write down your own definition. I'd say about a paragraph for each of these. Sports, politics, and what does it mean to look at sports and politics together? What is that about? So get some notes down. Doesn't have to be this beautiful thing, but take a little bit to think about this. There's no reading, and it's a chance to guide where the semester is going. So I look forward to seeing you on Monday. I think we're going to have a really good semester.